put out live on LinkedIn and Facebook and all those other different places. So thank you for joining me if you're joining me now. Yeah, so what I was just doing a little earlier, I have the privilege of being on Clubhouse. I don't know if any of you guys out there in LinkedIn land or Facebook land are on Clubhouse. I got the chance to talk this morning. They called me up to talk, and that was very interesting. So yeah, there was a conversation around kindness and responsibility and things like that. I think as a therapist, I like to pride myself on working towards always being responsible for my actions. I guess that's something maybe for you guys to think about. How responsible are you? What are you responsible for? What are the ways that you demonstrate responsibility in your life? What are the ways you're kind to people? And there was a discussion around kindness and niceness being not necessarily that closely aligned. So that was all very interesting. So over the past week, I guess, I've been thinking about you guys, and last week I didn't have a chance to do this. I'm endeavouring to do it once a week. That's my aim. So, we'll be doing this again. I'm going to try and do it roughly around this time every week, which is going to be about 9 o'clock Sydney, Melbourne, and Canberra time in Australia. And then it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I believe, Pacific time. And it'll be the afternoon as well in New York. I think it's hard to figure out the difference, but probably either a midday or the other side. So thank you for those people who in the past checked in here. It's good to get you guys just thinking about different things. So I guess today it's looking at what is it that you can do that might be different this week. How can you make just one decision that might change the course of your life? Let's think about it from a point of view of like the movie Sliding Doors, that sometimes one decision, do you make that train, do you run for the train, or do you not? And like Brene Brown talks about in that kind of scenario, we need to think about how quickly our lives can change just depending on one decision that we make, and being aware that is the case. So our decision to, make a decision to go to a friend's house or not can be the difference between whether or not you might be involved in a car accident or not, or you might catch, some kind of communicable disease that's going on around at the moment, which is interesting. We've got to think about how are we sitting with these complicated situations at the moment, and how are you going? Thank you for joining me, those people joining in. So I guess I'm just here looking at how are we weighing up our decision making at the moment? How are we deciding how kind we are in the world? How are we deciding to show up, to be responsible, to be accountable? I was just explaining just before I was on Clubhouse and I was invited up to speak, and it was very interesting. We were talking about kindness, responsibility, accountability, and those kind of things. And hi there. And the fact that kindness is the opposite to niceness, and that blew some people's minds. We need to be thinking about this because if we look at the dictionary definition, niceness is all about being agreeable. That's the people-pleasing side of humans, is the niceness. But kindness is actually about good person, even if you do things not so right, is that you're always trying to be that good, ethical or responsible person in the world. And how can you be kind? So for me today, my kindness is even sharing the information that I might have from that kind of interview I had before, which was fascinating. And then also spreading the love and kindness out to the world. How are you going to remain kind or keep in with just who you are in the world and what you want to bring to the world? How can you maintain that when there's so much stress in the world? How can you maintain that when we all have a lot of things going on for us at the moment? If you look around the world, how can we maintain kindness rather than over niceness? So how can we maintain the capacity for our heart to be open without armoring up, as Brene Brown would put it? Hi there. So we're talking just about, having conversations around who are you in the world and how can your kindness show up? Not your niceness, your kindness. How can you continue to be responsible for yourself? The existential approach talks about the opposite of responsibility is freedom. But ultimately, freedom is linked to responsibility. So often the more responsibility we take, the more freedom we can actually gain back, which is fascinating too. So here's thinking about what does this mean for you, this conversation now? And maybe I'd encourage you to have a think about this and reflect on where you're at in the world and how are you showing up in the world. And that's really important. And I wanted to make sure that today that was what this conversation was about. Thanks for those of you who checked in. There's a few people on Facebook who've checked in, which is great. Hi to those people. And thanks for those people staying. If you have any questions for me, now's the time to also hit me up. But I do tend to only come on for about 10 or 15 minutes. And so I guess the way the streaming works, if you don't kind of put the question in early, sometimes it can take 30 seconds or so to get to me, or maybe a minute, up to a minute, because it's got to go through all the channels. I'm running this through Restream, which is interesting as well. So yeah, if you have any questions, please hit me up now, because I want to make sure I answer your questions if you need them answered. I'm assuming if you're on Facebook, you're probably following me on the online therapy streams. That's where most of my people are there. So hi to those guys. And hi to the LinkedIn people who've checked in as well. There was a couple of LinkedIn people before. So I'm happy to talk about this kind of nuance around kindness and niceness. I think this is the key in the world, is how do we embody kindness rather than niceness? How do we embody being responsible in the world without feeling the weight on our shoulders? How do we embody a sense of freedom in the world to gain happiness, but at the same time not be dragged down by the weight of responsibility? And responsibility often, links in with accountability, as it says. So just having a think about that today. Again, if you've got any questions, let me know, or you can always hit me up after this and I'll get them. Otherwise, have a great day. To those people, if you're in, America or Europe, have a good evening and a good night. Have a good Tuesday to those people in Australia, and have a great rest of your Monday for people elsewhere. All the best, guys. And I guess I'm going to be toddling off now because there's no questions. And so have a great day, guys, and all the best. Bye for now.